Assalamu alaikum. The topic for our project is username enumeration or user enumeration. User enumeration is an activity by which an attacker tries to retrieve valid usernames from a web application. Web applications are mostly vulnerable to these types of attacks on their login pages, registration form pages, or the password reset pages. If the system is vulnerable to these type of attacks, then the attackers might be able to obtain a list of existing usernames in the system, and they can do this by using a list of valid and not valid username input, and they try to figure out which usernames are valid and which usernames are invalid by the response of the server. If the server responds differently to valid usernames than to invalid usernames, then they are able to figure out which usernames are valid and which usernames are invalid. If an attacker is able to gain this information, then they can further proceed to run dictionary attacks, and they can further exploit the system and use the information obtained for various purposes. The goal to do user enumeration is mostly to gain access to the system. So since most sites have password authentication, so if you get the username, the valid usernames in the system, then you actually have half the information that you need to get into the system. And if you can have half the information you need to get into the system, then you can use brute force methods or dictionary attacks to guess the password. And mostly the passwords are not strong enough, so once you have the usernames, then you're able to use brute forcing and dictionary attacks to gain passwords. What we are trying to do in this project is SSH protocol is used for encryption to secure the connection between a client and a server. So what we can do here is that websites and web applications that use open SSH publicly, they are vulnerable to these attacks using Paramiko library in Python, and they do not allow you to generate a list of valid usernames, but it allows you to guess if a username is valid or not valid. So you have to provide it a list of usernames that you can collect from, it is easily available from different sites, but we will be testing using only 3-4 usernames. And using those usernames in a text file, you can attack a web application and test if a username is valid or invalid. So starting from here, this is the code I have imported. I had to import Paramiko library, and we're using this code to test out, and this is the file of usernames that I'm gonna use. So first, let's check how to use this code, and here is the help. You have to use it in this format, file name and then other parameters. Okay, so now I'm gonna try it on an IP address of a real website, and here, let's run this. it failed to connect because most of the website nowadays are secure and they're not using SSH protocol like publicly, so it fails. But I will try to use it on a local server that I'm running on a web project that I was doing. So let me show you that server. Okay, that server is running and I will use this IP address and port number. Let's use it there. Yes, this one. And it returns done, so it should have validated or invalidated usernames. Let me check. Yeah, so in this file it returns the output. So admin is a valid username because I know it is a valid username. That's what I used to log into my system, and the other usernames are invalid. And this is what we have done so far, and thank you.